Welcome to the machine!
Welcome to the Scorching Hot Takes podcast, top 5 Pink Floyd albums. And I'm not sure we're going to be as friendly as we were for the Radiohead album rankings.
I'm quite confident. I think we're going to get flamed for very, very different reasons. I know I'm going to get flamed for my list, and I have a feeling that you will get flamed for some of your takes.
I think that is a very good assumption, but I think I'm going to be flaming you as well. I am very nervous for this.
Okay.
For this list, but kick us off. What we do first?
My number 5, straight off Scorcher. Number 5, Wish You Were Here.
What? No, wait, no, that is so low. I don't.
Let me preface this.
Wait, my saying.
Sam reference. Wish You Were Here is a 9.5. So don't get me wrong.
Hang on.
Everything on this list is a masterpiece, and it's all around the standard of In Rainbows as a reference, because I gave In Rainbows 9.6 in the last album ranking
That
video.
makes me quite happy just off the start, because that means that you might technically prefer Pink Floyd now. Maybe. Or they have higher highs in that whole catalog.
Higher highs.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, yeah, they also do have some low lows, which I hope not to see on your list. So anyway, just try and persuade me on Wish You Were Here, but I don't think you're going to do a good job.
Straight off the bat, I will say Shine On You Crazy Diamonds Part 1 to 5 is probably one of the best intros to any album ever.
Agreed.
Perfect, beautiful fade in ambience. That is how Pink Floyd do it best with an intro. I think usually I prefer a slow fade in to a massive album of noise, and then also a breathe in and a breathe out for an album over a longer period of time.
That's a good way to put it.
And there is some great moments on Wish You Were Here. For the intro, the actual song Wish You Were Here is about as good as Pink Floyd get in terms of actually making a hit. That's about as good as it gets. Same with the outro. My problem is
no,
a few
don't
things
say
that
it.
lie in between.
Don't say it.
You might have enjoyed our little intro we did there.
No, don't even start hating on Welcome to the Machine.
I'm not hating on it. I still think it's a very, very good song.
I mean, it's a 9.5,
Yeah,
but just
but
like,
you have to-
this
my
can't be
thing
the
is-
downside of Wish You Were Here. There's no way.
It is, unfortunately. But it's not specifically that song. It's an aspect of the sonics of the album. For me, Pink Floyd make their best use of synths when it's in the background as ambience underneath a guitar lead. I think that sometimes on Welcome to the Machine, the amount of synth gets a little bit overwhelming, and I think it's just slightly overdone.
No way. I
It's
could
not
not
bad, and it's-
further agree. Agree? Further disagree.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah, I think it's just a slight preference of I prefer a background synth to a lead synth most of the time. Have a Cigar is definitely better because it's still got that synth lead, but there's much more of kind of a funky rhythm underneath it, whereas I feel like Welcome to the Machine is just kind of slowly going along. There's not much else. I feel like it's so synth focused to the point where it kind of loses. I feel like I sound like I'm hating so much on it. It's still definitely a 9 out of 10, but it's just one of the weaker Pink Floyd songs. I think that's my only
That is so upsetting.
My
for
only
me.
takeaways from Wish You Were Here are the synth leads aren't as good as a David Gilmour weeping guitar lead, in my opinion. And also, as much as it's still got a nice concept behind it, it's definitely not Pink Floyd's strongest album in terms of concept. And also, I think sometimes it's a little bit theatrical at times. And I think there's a few lyrics in. Just threw up on the mic, done that twice now. There's some lyrics in there that sometimes I think are a little bit corny and theatrical, but I think that's just a proggy thing that sometimes doesn't resonate with me. The whole gravy train business.
No, but right. I'll get into it because I think
I don't
Wish
care.
You Were Here is a staple.
But this is a point that I'm going to say. If you're about to say it's to do with, are you going to say it's to do with the concept?
Yes.
Sometimes albums get too focused on concept and it takes
Wish You Were
away.
Here isn't that.
Listen, I know, but there is some things where it's worse than it could be because it follows the concept rather than the best choice. And that is going to be a very common theme throughout my list.
Yes, but
And a reason that some things haven't made it.
yes, and I think that is a case, and that's just personal preference, which is fine.
Yeah.
However, the Welcome to the Machine thing, again, it's not meant to have like the funky drums because it's meant to sound like a chugging machine.
I know.
Which is metaphorical for the music industry. It's
Great,
so like,
which is why why it makes it so difficult to judge these kind of albums, though, because you understand it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it's a piece of art. But then at the end of the day, you also have to take into account how much you like it and how much you think it is good as an actual piece of music, rather than just an art form and a metaphor. It's a musical metaphor.
To be honest, though, and I'll get onto this because Wish You Were Here is going to land on my list, but a bit higher up.
Yeah.
I think Wish You Were Here does a really good job at keeping the replay value very high.
It does at moments.
While still having a strong concept sweep throughout.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad start.
But this is why it still made the list, because it is one of the Pink Floyd albums that has a good, solid concept behind it, but still manages to have replay value, whereas some albums don't, as you'll find out when they don't make the list.
Oh, I'm so nervous.
Okay.
I think I'm going to give The Wall a goodbye from your list already, but anyway.
Oh, you reckon The Wall's going to be gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just based off your replay value comment. My number 5 is going to be Meddle.
Okay.
I think it's a great album, and it is Pink Floyd finding their footing post Syd Barrett. I don't think there's any albums before this where they really have that distinct sound.
I agree.
Like Echoes is such like a quintessentially Pink Floyd song. You've got the sonic experimentation. You've got the like strong conceptual lyrics sweeping throughout that song. And Echoes on its own is a masterpiece. But the rest of the album, not all of it, but the rest of the album brings it down slightly because nothing is on the same level as Echoes.
Okay.
You go in, one of these days, great intro.
Yeah.
Genuinely up there, because a lot of the time on some of their albums, the intro track serves more as like a conceptual opener, looking at something like Pigs on the Wing or A Speak to Me. But this is like an absolute banger. The bass, like rolling juggernaut of bass, is just, it feels like you're galloping and you feel like you're in like an action movie. And then these like chainsaw motorbike guitars are just like growling at you like, I love it. And then the thing with it though, as much as I like that as an intro, it don't really fit the album. Because then you get two sort of folky, more folky leaning songs.
Yeah.
With The Pillow of Winds and Fearless.
Yeah.
Which, and I'm not the biggest folks like fan, but I actually quite like these songs. They're not my favourite Pink Floyd songs.
Good.
But David Gilmour's vocals are so soft. It's like it could put me to bed.
Yeah.
Pause. But
is Pillow for the Winds is that David vocals?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
Pillow of Winds, one of Pink Floyd's best love songs, because they don't often have many like love songs in their whole catalogue. So I really like that as a bit of like a switch up for a lyrical topic. And then Fearless is just, I love the chorus. It's so catchy. That is definitely David on that. I know that's David. My only thing with Fearless that I don't like, and you probably won't get behind it like I do, don't like the Liverpool chant, because I'm not a Liverpool fan. And also, I get the reason apparently why they put it in is because it was mocking Liverpool, because Arsenal, which Gilmour and Waters are both fans of Arsenal, Arsenal beat them 2-1, so they put it in there. And also I think it's because it has quite strong messaging, that you'll never walk alone chant.
Yeah.
But
weird way to mock them though, to include them in the album, give them a shout out. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like they were being obviously like sarcastic, I think, with it, but for the song, which is so like beautiful, and it's also got like that sort of like a Western sort of like cowboy almost like rhythm to it.
It's twangy.
Yeah, but then you just get You'll Never Walk Alone at the end, and it doesn't really match the sonics. Then Saint-Tropez and Seamus are just duds. I'm not trying to listen to a dog feature on Seamus, and it's just like a minute and a half. Something.
I've got an explanation for the Pillow of Wind vocals, by the way. So, usually when it's David vocals, there's Richard Wright in the background.
Is it the other way around?
It's not. It's David's vocals doubled, so there's no Richard.
Okay, so it is Gilmour. So
you get used to David Gilmour's voice with Richard in the background to the point where you feel like that's what it sounds like, but actually when there's no Richard there, it sounds completely different.
So he's harmonising with himself then. Yeah. All right, cool. I was technically right then.
Yeah.
Let's go. So they're duds. So overall, it's an 8 for me. It's a great album, but there's a couple of low points, and also it's maybe more that I'm just not a folk fan, so I don't like the slower songs. But Echoes, what a masterpiece!
Yeah,
it's like underwater psychedelia, and I love it. And you get that throughout, where like even the way it starts with the piano key that sounds like a underwater sonar or something, and then later with the really weird sonic sort of exploration. With it feels like you're trapped in like an underwater labyrinth or something. It's amazing, but. Yeah, that's my number 5. Where we go, number 4 for you?
Number 4. Consistently scorching Animals.
Oh! I hate your list so much already. There's no way this can be saved, because I don't even think The Wall's making it. And if the only good one above this, well, not only good one, but the only like one that should still be appearing is Dark Side.
Okay.
And I was so angry there that I've nearly knocked my contact lens out my eye. So you start waffling on while I
you can
fix my
try and fix your
eyeball.
eye. It's above Wish You Were Here because, first of all, it's a better concept. And I do genuinely think I really like the concept behind it. Looked into it. There's a lot to it. And my favourite thing about it was the fact that Pigs of the Wing and the outro version, is it Pigs of the Wing 2 or is it called Part 2?
Pigs on the Wing, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, Part 2, yeah.
Part 2. I didn't know if it was 2 or Part 2. Not important. Obviously about his wife being able to like shelter him from the animals, the pigs, the sheep and the dogs. And I like that the whole idea of it is that she keeps it all away, like contains it all from him. And I like the way that the 2 Pigs on the Wind songs contain the 3 animals tracks. Just like one little thing that I noticed on the track list that I quite liked.
Good take.
I will discuss the 3 different animals as songs because I feel like there's not many songs. It's a five song track list, but the 3 animals are the focus.
The big boys.
I'm going to discuss the 3 songs. First of all, Dogs. I love that ambient fade in of the synth and the jangly 12 string.
Mm-hmm.
Great David performance. He's got so much he's got a bit of like a rustic voice to him.
Yeah.
And I like the build up. It's perfect. And the drop out and then that weeping.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's just...
Once the tally chart, by the way, for the sound effects, but completely valid. Completely valid.
Sound effect.
Sorry, carry on.
And it just carries on a great... It has everything that I like about Pink Floyd in it.
Mm.
That song is absolutely a masterpiece. It's a 10.
Oh, get in. Good
Straight
take.
away.
Good take. Here we go.
Pigs.
Yay. Oh.
See, again, it is a very, very good song. But my thing is, with Pink Floyd, I like when the slow ones are really rich, warm, and ambient. Stuff like Us and Them on Dark Side of the Moon. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Fair enough, yeah, valid.
Yeah. I feel like the rockier stuff, I like it when it's a bit more fast-paced. Like Sheep.
Yeah.
I don't like the Pink Floyd stuff that's rocky, but it's kind of got like a slow chugging rhythm because I feel like it gets a little bit tiresome. It's still really good. I hate that I sound like I'm hating because it's still...
No, but you've got to pick up on the negatives. I'm not mad about this. I think you're doing a good
this
job
is on par with In
explaining the
Rainbows.
tracks,
This is on par with In Rainbows. This is a 9.6.
which I'm still really happy about.
Yeah.
But, yeah, go on.
Sheep is literally perfect Pink Floyd song. It
Thank
has
you.
everything it could possibly need. My thing is, this is where I like the use of the 2 types of synth use. I'm talking a lot. I can't speak today. In Dogs, where it's just nice background synth for like the intro. That is one good use of synths, gentle background, or a small amount of time. For example, in Sheep, after David holds that vocal and it turns into
it's Roger, but yeah.
After Roger holds that note and it turns into the sift, but then it's cut off by that big absolute grinding guitar, you just get a snapshot of synth. That is when it's much better rather than just being constant synth for a whole song. I'm hating on Welcome to the Machine again.
I know.
But yeah, Sheep is perfect. Dogs is perfect. Pigs, this is another thing as well. You know the guitar that's got like the voice boxy thing?
Talk box guitar,
box, yeah. I just much prefer the kind of David Gilmour's clean turn. He's like the weeping turn that's on Dogs, for example.
I think you're looking at it like the sonics that you prefer.
Yeah.
Did you get? I think they did a good job at making it sound like a pig.
Because it must sound like a pig, but this is another thing where I just think they're going to focus in making choices to apply to the concept rather than what makes the music better. It's just gives it some minus points.
I see your point. I also think though with Animals and that song that it's not too overbearing where the concept takes over, because I actually think it really well represents and makes you feel like you're involved in the concepts. I think it's more like a personal dislike for the top box guitar, to be honest.
The thing is, all of these albums that I've got on here, or definitely these 2 and one more, are 100% deserving of the spot. But the only reason they're in certain positions higher or lower than each other is then because obviously a little bit of personal preference comes in. But also, any hot takes I do have on this list, I genuinely have reasons for that I will back myself up strongly for.
We're going to have to see when you get there.
But yeah, that's me and Animals.
So what was it? Out of 10?
9.6. So just a slight edge on Wish You Were Here.
You're really throwing me right now because I don't like your placement, but I like your ratings.
Okay.
So I'm semi-pissed off.
But you also should. I'm surprised you're not more pissed off because that means that there's albums that you think.
Yeah, just try not to think about that.
Okay.
I was trying not to think about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so for me, number 4,
Mm-hmm.
The Wall. And I don't think that's going to be appearing on your list.
Okay.
And this is where my first scorching comment comes in. I don't think The Wall's perfect, but I think it is genuinely the greatest concept album of all time.
Oh, okay.
If you're looking at purely the concept,
Mm-hmm.
my issue with this album, and I have a weird relationship with it, okay? Like, my issue is that the concept becomes too much of the concept, like, focus, like, it's too driven by this concept that it takes over the musicality of the record. And
Can I just interrupt? Sorry. So you're saying that it's the best concept album in terms of its concept, but in terms of how well the concept's brought across while also making it a good album with replay value, that's where it's weaker. Because in my head, that means it's a less of a good concept album, because a good concept album for me is the balance between the good musically and album and concept.
Yeah, so, okay. Yeah. So, yeah. I agree. It's the best purely concept. It's more of a piece of art to me.
Yeah.
It's more like something to just be in awe at.
Yeah.
But as a musical piece, the replay value weighs it down for a few reasons. Some of it's a double album as well, which I'm glad it's marketed as that and like packaged as a double album. But it's still, you go into it and you listen to The Wall. It's way too long. Some of the songs, there's way too many transitional points. But I will say this: the film, it is one of the greatest films of all time ever, genuinely anyway. And if you look at this as a soundtrack, it is the perfect soundtrack. Have you ever watched the film, by the way?
No. But when I was listening to it, I was just thinking,
it's so good. You will love it as well.
Okay, yeah, I probably will.
It's up
But
your
this,
street.
in fact, I'm just going to admit it now because you already know. The Wall didn't make my list because I think great songs. Run Like Hell, one of my favourite Pink Floyd songs. Comfortably Numb, one of the best songs of all time. My thing is just the stuff in between. I was like, yeah, it's good. I get it's part of the concept, but it got so slow and it was just slow and chugging all the way through. And I just thought it would be so good if there was a film alongside this, but this alone just doesn't do anything for me. Other than some of
I
the
agree.
hits.
That's my weird relationship with it because after seeing the film, I picture the songs like they are in the film. But if you separate it and judge it as just a body of art on a streaming platform or on the vinyl or whatever, you can't get the same out of it. So then when there's just like flying airplane sounds, it's like, whoa, like calm down. And I like a bit of like sort of cinematic value in songs, like on Animals, for example, which I will be getting into. As you can guess,
I can imagine.
You've got the animal noises, but it doesn't take over the songs. Whereas some of these songs are just so concept driven that it ruins the replay value.
Yeah.
But the songs on here that are the highs, Comfortably Numb, one of the greatest songs of all time, as you said.
And solos.
Yeah,
maybe
one of the greatest
best guitar solo of all time.
Definitely up there. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Nice. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 is one of the most iconic and powerful songs of all time as well. And when you're in the album, I think the first half's better because you feel like you're waiting for the Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 with the Another Brick in the Wall Part 1.
Yeah. See, that just felt like a wasted time for me.
Nah, because when it then hits, and also Another Brick in the Wall has probably one of my favourite bass tones of all time. That first one is the fattest, chunky.
Wait, hold on.
Go on.
This is that.
Go on. It is deep, but yeah.
First time I've ever been allowed to use that by Sam.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it.
Yeah,
and you're supporting The Wall somewhat. I can understand why you don't have it in your top 5, and I can understand if it's not in other people's top 5 because if you judge the musicality of it, it's not great. I'm just a sucker for a concept album though, and I like how meticulously crafted it is.
Yep.
And for a soundtrack, it's perfect.
Yep.
If you look at it as the film and how the concept is driven throughout, with the Pink Floyd rock star rising to fame and all his troubles and the alienation and isolation that he goes through and stuff. And just also like the backstory behind how The Wall was created, I really like as well. Yeah. And but judging it as a body of music, 9.5 for me.
Okay.
But I think I do like concepts more than others, so that might be why it's getting a high score, but it's genuinely, I think it's the best concept album of all time. Sorry just to keep going on, but I do have another...
You're right in this one, I don't mind.
Yeah, I do have another comment that I want to make. Okay. I've seen some criticism about The Wall because it's too fictional and like self-indulgent and stuff. A comment just about the wider entertainment industries here. When you look at it in the film, there's no comments about that. And you can make films about bad people and like serial killers and stuff that are really good, and they've got like self-indulgent like characteristics and stuff like that. Why in music is it so like critiqued? That's what I just don't like, because I feel like you can't have that fictional concept.
Are you talking about like portraying a character?
Yeah,
because there's obviously some things that are said on the album that people are a bit like.
Yeah, but that is the whole thing. Is a concept, and
it's
obviously
the same as the new sound.
Yeah,
the new sound. Georgia Group's playing a character. I hope so. Anyway, but it's the same thing.
There's so many albums like that, but I feel like it's when you push the boat a little bit too far. People are like, oh well, you can't have that in an album.
I also think there's just some things that you can draw parallels between the character and actual.
Yes, I think it's aged
potentially.
I think it's aged badly. However, if you judge it as the points they were trying to make in the thing about
as a standalone
police
piece.
brutality and stuff like that, when there's some lyrics that we will not be going into, like on the second in the flesh, in that moment, it's in a sort of a good spirit, although it is really in your face and stuff. But people are just like, well, you can't have that. But like, you can have that in films and stuff. That's the thing that kind of annoys me a little bit about people maybe over-hating The Wall. And also people over-hate The Wall because it's the album that broke up Pink Floyd. But like, just judge it as just the music, which has been hard for me to do. But 9.5, I'll shut up.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Number 3. The Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
See, oh no, actually, I was about to try and back you, but Over Wish You Were Here and Animals is, no. How? I mean, if you were going to bring in any early Pink Floyd, you've brought in the right one.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely.
You've brought in
I'll say that. Sam said before this that he thought I was going to bring, you're not going to think it's going to be 2 or 1, so Sam thought I was going to put more in there.
Yeah, just because of like, it's got some like more rocky songs, which I know is more.
I stopped listening to it because I didn't like the rocky stuff on it. I liked the intro a lot. I can't remember what it's called. It's called like
I'm not sure. I didn't even revisit
Cirrus Minor or something like that. That's a great song. After that,
like in the Nile or something. I thought you liked that one. Is that what it's called? I don't know.
It's good, but it's not as good as this. Tell you what, the Mad Hatter would love this album.
Yeah, good take actually. Yeah,
I just love the sound of it so much, and I've also given it. I've given it a 9.6.
Okay. So it's the same as Animals.
Yeah.
How is it higher than Wish You Were Here? No.
Because I want it to be recognised. I mean, it is anyway.
Oh, whoa. This isn't a fucking promotional video.
For my reasons.
Go on, you explain.
And also, you remember, I'm talking about it.
Why is it better than Wish You Were Here?
Because I'm going to get to that, but I'm saying, first of all, you have to remember, this isn't a list of what I think people are going to say is the top 5 albums. It's what I think are the top 5 best.
No, I know, and so is mine.
I'm going to give my reasons right now.
Go.
Right here, right now. It is the perfect, first of all, Syd Barrett has this kind of amazing, silly charm, and it's just so fantastical and poetic. And I like it on songs like The Gnome and Bike, the outro. It's just so charming. And I like that it's like, I'm saying like a lot, aren't I? Anyway, not important. His silly poetry and fantastical mysticality goes so well over the instrumentals that are like a psychedelic circus.
I agree.
I just think it matches so well. And even the stuff like astronomy, domain, whatever you pronounce it. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that I like the guitar turns on that, and then just the guitar turns on the whole album, on the more rocky tracks, have such a nice bit of dirt to them that I like so much. And there is like, give me a sec. Let me just.
You can't be top 3. Don't even know what he's talking about. My thing with it,
talk for a sec.
That you like, as in like his sort of like, well, obviously the psychedelics were obviously his downfall, but at this point, I think it's almost a little bit too silly for me.
Yeah.
And not that I'm like taking it too serious, and I know that's a
thing.
criticism of like prog and stuff, that people take it too seriously and stuff. And I definitely fall into that bracket, but it just loses me. It's almost, like you said, a bit circus. It's a bit clown-like. And I don't dislike this album. It's definitely in that 6-7 range for me.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm not criticising it, but I wouldn't put it above a good album, personally. Okay. It's definitely not a 9.6.
Okay. What I was trying to... I was thinking that Interstellar Overdrive was called Interstellar One Drive.
No, you're just used to shifting these files around at the moment.
I couldn't think of what the word was. Like, it sounds like OneDrive, but that's not going to be in the title. Interstellar Overdrive, the nearly 10-minute track. The guitar turns on this. You'll notice that they're really kind of sharp and stabby and thin sounding, but also have that grit to them. And it's very Will Sergeant Crocodile's turn.
Oh, here we go. He has to bring up
like
Echo and the Bunnymen in any situation.
I just love the guitar turn so much. I think sometimes it sounds like some Stooges stuff. Like it's got, and then also it's got like a funkiness to it at points like Lucifer Sam. That riff.
I quite like that one though.
It's kind of like Mission Impossible. And I just think that Syd Barrett, the genius behind this album, deserves to be in here. And the reason that I put it above is, yes, it's an earlier sound. It's not as refined. I do like the more gritty and less refined psychedelic side rather than, because we still have kind of psychedelic aspects in later Pink Floyd, but it's a really refined sound. Gritty psychedelic stuff kind of just resonates with me more sometimes. Completely lost my train of thought.
You're not cooking. You're not.
No,
well, you were cooking.
Wait.
a bit,
Just let me just think. I can't remember what I was going to say, and now I'm panicking about it, and now I can't remember it.
Wait.
What was I saying? I've written it down. Oh, can you talk about something? Because I'm actually...
Here we go. You're bottling.
Because it's making me worse.
My other criticism of this album is that it came out 2 months after Sergeant. It came out 2 months after Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club by the Beatles, and it's like just a lesser version to me. And also, I think the weirder bits.
What? So you insinuating that they kind of copied it?
No, but that sound, that whole like that 1967 like psychedelic sound, and the albums around that time are all very sort of Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's, and I think the
yeah, but if it was Sgt. Pepper's was released only 2 months before, they would have been recording.
Yeah, but they all sort of like interlinked in the studio and stuff.
Because it was in Abbey Road, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it's all in the same studio. That's the thing. It might not have even been released. They might have recorded it 2 months before in the studio. So like they were all sort of working at the same time, same producers, that sort of thing.
You have to remember though, apparently, I can't remember the producer's name, but they were that happy with the album because it didn't in any way capture what they were like as a live band. As a live band at the time, they were completely different.
Yes, yeah, I've seen that before, yeah. And
so I
think maybe it'd actually bring it to life a bit more if you were to see it live.
Because it was more drawn out when we like that kind of stuff, don't we? Where you make a 5-minute track into a 20-minute noise session.
My only other criticism, which I'm surprised you actually get behind, is a song like Interstellar Overdrive, which... great start, but then it loses you in the second half.
No, it doesn't.
No.
I think it's a perfect length because it flies by. It keeps me so entertained.
No, but it's it's where the experimentation is like.
See, I think this is a perfect mix.
Weird.
I think this is a perfect mix of easily digestible psychedelic rock and really experimental stuff for the whole album. What I was going to say before when I completely lost my train of thought,
go on.
That will happen in a lot of videos. As soon as I panic that I've forgotten something, my brain just dies.
It gets a little bit nervous.
Don't make me forget it again.
Oh, come on.
Don't talk. Yes. What I was saying is, I was saying this before, I like the grittier sound, but the more refined sound of later Pink Floyd, like Animals, Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, the Big Four, they have higher highs. I will say that. But my thing is, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn has no lows.
Oh, that's hot.
I don't think there's a single low compared to other albums. I think every song, I don't think there's a song on Piper at the Gates of Dawn that is worse than any song on The Wall.
That's fine though. I don't think that's a bad take because they're better songs than like something like The Trial on The Wall is genuinely like just theatrical. It's not even a song.
But yeah, I've given The Piper at the Gates of Dawn number 3 spot over Animals. Fuck off. Over Animals and Wish You Were Here. Oh, we're actually getting Larry. Because
terrible. Now I'm actually annoyed. Now I'm thinking about it more. I've had some time to process because at first you threw me off. I'm not happy.
No, but it's because this is where the me side of thing comes in. I think it's a better album because it's so much more easily digestible.
Okay.
Simple as that. Because not everything's about concept. Sometimes good music is just replay value.
Yeah, I know, but I don't.
You have to admit there is a lot more replay value.
No, there isn't.
Okay,
bro. Wish You Were Here and The Wall, agreed. And I made that argument in mine. The Wall does not have good replay value. Animals, Wish You Were Here and Dark Side.
I'll stop. What I mean is not as an album, but in terms of individual songs. Because you're an albums guy, I'm a songs guy.
You like an album, though.
Yes.
And also we're judging the album here.
You only listen to albums, though.
Correct.
I listen to songs. I think,
But we're not doing.
Listen, this is my point. The Piper at the Gates of Dawn I've put above is because it's more easily digestible song for song, whereas the other two are digestible and have replay value as albums compared to like The Wall. But I give it bonus points because songs individually work better than songs individually. You're never going to listen to The Pigs on the Wing 2 on its own.
But yes, but that's the whole point.
I know, but I'm saying...
We're doing an album rating here.
Yeah.
We're not doing I like this many songs more than this many songs.
But an album rating isn't just about how good the concept of the album is.
I'm not saying it is, but the sonics are easily better on Wish You Were Here in Animals as well.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I like that kind of gritty sonic... Like, it's kind of... Not that the genre all sounds the same, but it's very Velvet Underground first album-esque in terms of
that's my other
production,
critique.
which I kind of like.
Better contemporaries.
I like the kind of... It's got grit. And I just like that.
I just think at the time as well, better contemporaries, like the Velvet Underground, like the Beatles.
You don't like the Velvet Underground?
But I think they're better than Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd era.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, anyway, I'll get on to my number 3.
Okay.
I'm losing. I'm losing faith in yours.
Don't worry, it's going to get worse.
Because if The Wall's not in there, on yours, Dark Side's got to be coming. If not, but then, how many more do you have? You've then got another 2 absolute...
No, I don't. I've got...
you went first.
2
I
more.
always mess up the numbers.
Also, you don't know if I've got Dark Side in there.
Yeah, no, I said if that's not, then you've either got 2 stinkers or a stinker and Dark Side. Oh, what is going on? Okay. About Dark Side, it is coming at number 3.
Okay.
And from here on out, perfect albums.
10s. Okay.
Genuinely all in consideration for greatest albums of all time, in my opinion. Pink Floyd are my favourite band, so call me biased, whatever. But I genuinely don't think people would look at you funny to suggest that they are some of the best albums of all time. It's not a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon, putting it third hurts me. I love this album. And every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, it's Pink Floyd's best album.
Yeah.
But then I also get that for Wish You Were Here in Animals.
Yeah.
Like, so Dark Side, for me, is so good because it's so unapologetically and openly human. The concept...
Oh.
Yeah, but the concept...
Yeah, no, I don't know why I'm mocking.
Yeah, shut up. The concept is
Annoyed
so... Yeah, I'm annoyed at you as well. The concept... I've just started that sentence 6 times. The concept is so relevant to humans, no matter whether it was at the time or now.
Yeah.
Discuss.
Not again. Carry on.
Whether it's discussing things like time, this is all things we like struggle with. And when your time comes, the end of the song, one of my favorite parts on the whole album, when Richard Wright breaks the 4th wall and it's like the song's done, time's over. That sort of thing.
Thought I'd something more to say.
That was amazing. But that is so, because it doesn't follow the traditional song structure.
Yeah. That's
so powerful just in itself. That's like, your time's up and we're going to finish it right here. But then it goes back into the breathe rhythm and you get the breathe reprise. Yeah. And then it's like that cyclical nature for the first half. And to me, that bit of breathe at the end of time, about you, obviously that your time's done. You get that sort of 7 minutes of memories or something, and then you go to the Great Gig in the Sky, which is up to anyone's interpretation, because Pink Floyd openly have said that they're atheists. So it's an ironic song because they don't think there's a Great Gig in the Sky. However, if you want to...
Sounds like it, by the song.
If you've got the, because it's so spiritual, if you do believe in an afterlife, you can interpret it in that way. It's so, like, relevant and accessible to all people. Then you've got some of their best hits on here. Money... I don't know how the 7/4 time signature is like so groovy and accessible. To me, a 7/4 time signature should be like
awkward,
experimental and awkward, but it's got such a like a and then when it goes into 4/4 for
is
David
that
Gilmour's
the drum roll?
and then when it feels like it speeds up, that bit. It's just like it's just come together. And that guitar solo by David Gilmour's also probably top 3. But then the saxophone
is long as well, isn't it?
Yes.
The saxophone.
The saxophone is absolutely voluptuous.
Yep. It's a sexy one.
It is.
Don't like that word, but I'm using it in this context.
What it was. It's meant to have the swagger of like a rich guy. And I also think that it's got that swagger of like money, desiring money, that greed. But at the same time, it's also like critical, but they're open about it because they're saying about how the capitalist society and stuff, people are just always striving for money and we can't get it out of our heads
Yeah.
you're always taught from a young age about like the importance of finance, saving money and desiring money. Your superheroes and your idols that you look up to are all rich and successful. And what defines success for a lot of people is money. But then they're open about it in the second sort of half of the track where they're like, don't want a piece of my pie sort of thing. They want their own money as well, which is just really self-aware, which I really like.
Yeah.
Also, some of the low-key cuts on here, like On the Run. And this is the thing. I feel like you maybe critique this because you think as a song, it doesn't have the replay value or something. But I just love the meticulous craft that went into every element of this album and the two above it as well. Because on this, they literally applying science to it. They've got the Doppler effect, which is like the rushing sounds that go past you. You know, like a car comes in the distance. And then when it comes, you know, like with a car coming past you there, it's like the... That probably sounds sick when we play it back. But you've got that to show that the stresses of time, and Richard Wright openly like hated flying and stuff because it provoked that fear of death, which then it transitions into time, which is also great. But even songs like On the Run are so good. And then you've got like the airport, what's the word? The context elements. Hey, you can't say anything. Cinematic elements of that as well, which just really add to it. And then other stuff like Any Colour You Like, which is why the album cover became what it is, about that sort of misperception that we have choice, that all colours lead back to one colour, which is in the album cover. And the song doesn't even need any lyrics to just portray that value. Like, it's just so good and so human throughout. I could talk about every song, but I'm not going to. But I genuinely think I think it should be their biggest because it's their most accessible for the concept as well. It's the most accessible. There's so much replay value. And I can see you smirking, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me. So what are you doing for your number 2?
Number 2, Meddle. And I'm giving it a 9.8.
Okay.
I think this is Pink Floyd's best album in terms of a journey, demanding attention. It's like there's a conductor. It has so many. I'm explaining this absolutely terribly.
Yeah, because it's a shit take.
No, it's not. It's the conduct. Oh my, I can't speak.
Yeah, this is awful.
The band conducts the tension.
Wish you were hearing Animals Up.
Shut up. The band conducts the tension so well from the intro to obviously the bit of echoes where you have that really anxious, that's the best way to describe it. You actually just feel anxious, listen to it with them weird screams. You feel like you're in a dark cave. And then you just come up with this massive crescendo at the end of it. Echoes is a masterpiece. I completely agree with you. And also, A Pillow for the Winds is genuinely up there with one of my favourite Pink Floyd songs of all time. I think it is absolutely perfect. That song's easily a 10. Everything about it is such... Considering it is sonically pretty much just as good of an album as Dark Side of the Moon is.
Oh, no way. No way. Sonically, Dark Side is so much more diverse and richer.
I think this is such a rich album. I think there's so... And I like the You'll Never Walk Alone thing. And it's
I thought you might.
And it's not even because I care about football. I used to be a Liverpool fan when I cared. Well,
no, but don't you think that it just clashes with the whole, like...
I just like it. It's just like a little moment.
Yeah, I don't, like, hate it. It just feels
I don't even mind, like, Seamus, because it's not like it's, like, too
Oh, no. It's just an annoying groove.
I like it. I like all of it. It's the perfect mix of... It's got the hard, rocking Pink Floyd side, a nice, fast-paced driving rhythm section, great guitar, great vocals, intro and outro, and everything in between. It's just the nice, folky, ambient side of Pink Floyd. I just think it's brilliant.
Hang on, how is Seamus? How are you ranking that?
It's perfect. It's for the album, I'd probably give it an 8.
But this album gets a what out of 10?
9.8.
So how many 10s do you have on here?
Huh?
How many 10s
Everything
do you have
else.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way. Hang on. No way.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Saint-Tropez a 10.
Yep.
That is an awful take.
Okay.
That's an awful take. Someone grill him other than me. Mr. Wiggles is coming in.
Hello.
Mr. Wiggles does not approve of that fucking bullshit. What? Oh.
Listen.
No, also Seamus is not an 8.
He's just got such-
It's not an 8. It's a dog on a feature, just woofing.
So it's dogs.
Yeah, but dogs.
I like dogs, I'm not hating.
Yeah, shut up. You gave dogs a 10 as well, shut up.
This is up here
You like
because,
dog
again,
features.
I understand that it could be the other way around, but I'm much more focused on whether I like the songs individually, whether I don't care about the concept that much. It's a nice little bonus and it's interesting. But this is up here because, and also it's not really a concept album. It's got some like themes and symbolism that weave throughout the album, but it's not classed as a concept album. So, but that's why
the only conceptual piece is Echoes at the end, really.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's like weave throughout. Because Echoes is half of the album.
No, it's just a concept album.
But it's just it's the sounds of this album, and it's the same reason that the Piper at the Gates of Dawn's in there. I like the sound a lot because it's got a bit more grit to it than other Pink Floyd stuff, which just resonates with me more. And I just think this is an absolute masterpiece of conducting tension, which is what I was trying to say for 5 minutes. I'm like pissed off that that's my number 2 because it was so hard to explain. Why can't?
Yeah, because you're just picking things that
because
you're having to defend yourself so much because they're
what
bad takes.
No, because I genuinely tried to have a normal text. My original list wasn't like this.
Right.
My original list had Animals and Wish You Were Here above these two, but I swapped them around because when I started writing about them, I was just like, by the way, I'm describing these two. I'm making them sound better, and then I realized, maybe I actually prefer them. But now I'm saying it, I'm not making it.
There's so much more to describe the albums. You could literally, if we were doing this video, I could genuinely do 3 hours, probably on each album.
Yeah. Well, this is why I'm annoyed at myself because when I was writing about it, I described The Piper at the Gates of Dawn and Meddle in a better way than I described Animals and Wish You Were Here, and now we're here, I'm not doing well, and I can't keep looking down at my phone because no one's going to be watching anymore.
Yeah, because it looks like you're looking at...
Hi, little guy.
Okay. Moving swiftly on, my number 2 is Wish You Were Here. Way too low on your list. Perfect album, Pink Floyd's second best. Mm-hmm. And also, like, as I said with Dark Side, any of these 3 can be my favourite. It genuinely just changes.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm putting Wish You Were Here above Dark Side is my favourite Pink Floyd album sonically. I'm a massive synths guy though. Mm-hmm. So let's just get into my favourite Pink Floyd song, Welcome to the Machine. After re-listening to everything and going through it all, there's been a few contenders. Welcome to the Machine is my favourite song. Those synths feel like you're getting electrocuted, but you're safe. You just feel like you're just getting zapped. It's so good. When they come through, it's so powerful. I just love it. The messaging of the song's still relevant today with like A&Rs and stuff trying to be your friend, getting you into the industry, and then you've just got your downfall because you weren't prepared for the fame and stuff, and the false promises. Then that leading into Have a Cigar with the same thing about the lies in the music industry. It's absolutely incredible. It's about that feeling of like alienation and isolation, which Pink Floyd was suffering with at the time because obviously they rose to fame really quickly. And then also there's the fact that they're missing one of their best friends, Syd Barrett. Obviously that's what Shine On You Crazy Diamonds, which front and back the album. It's about, they are some of Pink Floyd's best extended, like 10 plus songs. They're definitely up there. Although there's like not many, but they're up there with Pink Floyd's best intro and outro. If not, they probably are.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to make the take that they are the best intro and outro for a Pink Floyd album.
Yeah. I actually might back that.
Yeah. But then it's kind of hard to rate because like Speak to Me and stuff and like Pigs on the Wing aren't meant to be as good. But anyway.
That's the thing.
You feel that like loss of a friend, even if like obviously we haven't lost Syd Barrett, but as a Pink Floyd fan, I feel their loss. I feel it as in like stuff that I've lost, even if it's not a friend, like even if it's just like memories or things you've held on to and you no longer have, and it's just really easy to digest. Great saxophone, great guitar solos, great chorus, so emphatic. Yeah. And then the song Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't even think I need to say any more about it, but I love the synths. I love the messaging throughout. And it's my favourite album sonically, even if maybe the concept of Dark Side resonates with me more, but I think it's meant to be because it's more of an accessible concept. But Wish You Were Here is my favourite, like textured and sonically Pink Floyd album. 10 on 10, perfect album. I love it. And what an album cover. Oh.
Yeah. You ready for my number 1? So the options
Please,
options here are
please say
something-
Dark Side.
the options are
please.
anything before Meddle other than the Piper at the Gates of Dawn, or maybe it's like the Division Bell or something later on, or maybe it's Dark Side. What do you think?
It's Dark Side.
It is. Can I ask
That's
something?
fine. That's fine. That's a good take.
Can I read what I've written off my phone? Because I actually think I'll get my point. As much as I'll try and make a good delivery, but I don't want to do it off the top of my head because I've just written it down and it makes it sound better. And it'll just be.
Do whatever you want to, because this take is your best one so far.
Number one is The Dark Side of the Moon. While I'd say Animals is Pink Floyd's best concept album in terms of concept, Pink Floyd is the best. The Dark Side of the Moon is the best concept album when it comes to music being executed perfectly on the album while still getting the concept across.
I agree.
It's much easier digestible. It ventures into different worlds, psychedelic, jazzy, funky, everything. It touches many corners, all the while still feeling like a connected journey.
Mm-hmm.
Time is one of the best guitar songs of all time. Straight up.
Timeless.
The Great Gig in the Sky, having the female vocals over the whole thing, is such an incredible creative decision that perfectly captures whatever the song was trying to achieve. The bass turn on Money and the solo on top and the saxophone is the best three instruments in one song on any Pink Floyd song when you mix them all together.
Okay, no, good take, actually.
The gentle rocking rhythm and saxophone of Us and Them, and that's just one of the other things. I literally just wrote that. That was just a note. Wow, Us and Them. Yeah, just everything you could want from a softer Pink Floyd song.
Mm-hmm.
From all these points that I've made, you can see how, while all these albums are masterpieces that I've listed, this is a masterpiece where every moment you listen to emphasizes just how perfect it is to another level.
Do you think it's a 10 then?
We'll get to that. This is a masterpiece where every moment emphasizes just how perfect it is, whereas Animals and Wish You Were Here have slight drop-offs. This is one of the best albums ever made, without a doubt. It touches on some really deep emotional places, but still has such a warm sound. And even towards the end, with Brain Damage and Eclipse closing us off, the poetic lyricism and huge sounds carrying the album to a close leave us with a great emotional hurtfulness that not many albums have ever achieved since.
You're definitely better when you're reading from your phone. It's
What do you
just
think
not
I'm going to say now?
engaging. Go on.
I'm going to give it a 10.
Yes! He's given a 10! He's given a 10!
I'm going to accept that there is perfect albums out there. I thought
But
about
even
giving it a
something
9.9.
like On the Run, why does that connect? Whereas other
Because
songs with maybe the transition.
I have no problem with experimentation. If it actually isn't overdone and adds something to the album, it's just part of the journey and it works. It's not overdone.
Right, okay.
It's interesting and it flows well in the album. Great placement. If it had been like in the middle of like Time and the Great Gig in the Sky or something, it'd be like, you could have just put it somewhere else. I think it's the perfect album. And it's not even my usual taste.
Yeah, that's true. But
which proves it's not even me being biased. And none of this is my usual.
This is good.
I think
though. This is a good take.
Meddle and The Piper at the Gates of Dawn got high placements because they are closer to my usual taste than Wish You Were Here and Animals. But Pink Floyd, even though it's probably closer than Wish You Were Here and Animals in terms of usual taste because it's got shorter tracks.
Oh, you mean Dark Side? You called Dark Side of the Moon Pink Floyd then?
I've done that twice now because it's on the list as well. Yeah, that's why it's got above those two.
Yeah. To be fair, when you think of Pink Floyd, you do think of Dark Side. The album cover as well, easily contender for one of the best album covers of all time.
Yeah.
But just judging the music alone, I completely agree with everything you've said about the album. And like, we probably feel and praise it in the same way, even though I have it third. But like, this is my favorite band of all time, and I genuinely think all of them are so good.
Yeah.
Like my top three. Like, it is also basically my number one. You just got to rank it because that's what the point of the episode is.
Realistically, to sum up my list, and it makes sense when I say it like this, number one is just a perfect masterpiece. Number 2 and 3 are masterpieces that have got a higher placement on my list because of personal preference, and Animals and Wish You Were Here are masterpieces that are 4th and 5th because of how good I know that they are, but some parts don't resonate with me as much. When I say it like that, you might be suddenly less pissed off at me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still think it's criminal to have Wish You Were Here and Animals that low. But yeah, out of interest, what would be like touching around the 6th mark?
It was the Division Bell and then The Wall. Division Bell is a great album.
Yeah, it's just a bit too long. But I like the.
I listened to it last night. Yeah, I don't think it's too long. For once, I listen. Usually, when albums are that length, I either like them to be like a kind of 40, 45 minute or like an hour and 20, like The Wall. And when it's kind of in between, it feels drawn out, but not drawn enough out to be a long double album. But I thought it's like an hour and 5, something like that. I think
it's like an hour and 9, is it maybe?
I don't know.
So it's around that length, yeah.
But I thought that worked well for the album because I didn't know what I'd take out. It was a really consistent. It's a really consistent album. I think there was nothing that I thought that didn't need to be in there. So I think it actually worked. Whereas The Wall is too long, and I genuinely think you could cut The Wall in half, and it would be a lot better.
Yeah, but
as an album, it's just because
that's just not the point.
It's not the point.
It's a rock opera.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number one.
Here we go.
There's only one thing it really can be now from the way I've been talking. I've also kind of alluded to it being here already. Animals is Pink Floyd's best album. The concept is their most powerful and discussing a wider sort of topic throughout the concept than any of their others.
Yeah.
Whilst still having the great, ambitious and innovative musicality.
Yeah.
First of all, love the way that Pigs on the Wing front and back the album. Pigs on the Wing is also another like alternative takeaway you can get from it. Is Pigs on the Wing is a phrase used in aerial combat for an enemy in your blind spot, which suggests about the pigs.
I didn't know that.
So it's about people that are close to you but will stab you in the back.
Right.
Which perfectly gets you into dogs.
Yeah.
Which is violent and vulgar, but dancing. It's dancing. It's
really weird because it's
like a knife dance.
The lyrics are really kind of cold and brutal, but the way that like 12-string jangliness and ambience comes in, it's so warm and comforting.
Well, I
and
think that's the whole thing. Yeah. They'd try to be your friends, but are going to stab you in the back.
Yeah.
And when David Gilmour's one part on this album, on Dogs, in the first verse, when he says to put the knife in, and then you get the lash, like the dog's being punished, but then you also get the squeal of the guitar, like the knife's just gone in and you've just stabbed your victim. That is where the Sonics...
It's a good demonetised. I've not added anything from this anyway.
The Sonics links with the lyrics there, it's just masterful. The way it squeals like the victim would.
Yeah.
But then...
I know, it's just...
That's what it is, though.
Yeah.
And then you also get to hear about how like the dog's going to have its downfall and get dragged down by the stone, which is completely such a good metaphor and repeated throughout, where it is on Pigs on the Wing 2 as well, and on Sheep, where so this idea of being dragged down by the stone, being dragged down by your position in society, the weight from the pigs at the top.
Yeah.
The song Pigs, I absolutely love it. Yeah. It's like, it feels like a big fat pig, just like, it's got an ignorant groove to it. That's the way I feel, which perfectly describes what it's meant to be getting across. It feels chunky, it feels lazy, but it's got like a groove, and the guitar solo at the end of that is also in top 3, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's
what saves it. That's why I still think it's good, the guitar solo.
At the end is so emphatic, but I also love the Talkbox guitar and how it sounds like a pig. I love it. It's so good. And the song sounds like, it sounds greedy. It just comes across absolutely perfectly. Then Sheep is probably my second favourite Pink Floyd song of all time. It's just, when I was looking through,
Sheep is definitely up there for me.
Yeah. I was going through because I wasn't sure whether Welcome to the Machine was still going to be my number one, because I've said it is, but Sheep has been in a mainstay for rotation for a while for me. But I think it's second. And I love the galloping bass on this. It's so like you could skip along to it. It's one of the most high tempo Pink Floyd songs. It's one of their best rockers. I love the way that Roger Waters' vocals extend into the synth that blends in. Yeah. So psychedelic. So it's just, and it's really quite clever at the time. In 1977 to have that vision and like the studio innovation to be able to actually pull that off is genius. But I also love the messaging, and the thing I quite like about the album as well is it's so brutal about describing and depicting what society is, and like the human race, just calling everyone animals. Yeah. And if there wasn't this moment on their last song where Roger Waters admits that he's a dog himself, that self-awareness really just tops it off for me. I think it's really self-aware while still being brutally honest with the society. I think it's their best aging album as well. Yeah. This is now a lot of people's number ones for Pink Floyd albums, and I think it deserves the spot.
Yeah,
it's their best aging album because at the time it didn't even go number one. It was always seen as like a bit of a drop off from Wish You Were Here.
Yeah,
and
which I disagree with you.
Yeah, I think it's their best aging album because the concept is still so relevant. So is Dark Side and Wish You Were Here, but I feel like with not much has changed in terms of the society. You can still critique it in the exact same way.
Yeah, I agree.
And his spin on George Orwell's 1945 Animal Farm is just genius as well. Yeah. I love this album. Up there with my favourites of all time.
Yeah.
Definitely top 3. But yeah, another 10 on 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are definitely more scorching than me in this video.
Yeah, definitely.
That is
just personal preference.
An easy takeaway. My hottest ones were probably my comments about The Wall being the best concept album of all time, and then also my point about like music not really being able to express itself as other entertainment forms can.
I feel like today's a big day that I've actually accepted that there is such thing as an album that's a 10.
That is my favourite moment, I think, from all of this, because the rest of the shit you were saying I wasn't really getting down with. But
I do agree that Animals does have an edge over Wish You Were Here though, because of the concept and the way it's portrayed, and I do think that's what gives it the edge. Because if you think about it, if you take away the fact that, never mind, we don't agree on anything.
Yeah, we don't agree.
Yeah, all right.
And now we're going to have to make tea together, and I'm probably just going to put my AirPods in and listen to Animals.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are
we going to do a bonus video with top 10?
Oh,
top 10.
We'll discuss.
Let us know if you watch this.
Yeah, let us know.
Would you like to see our top 10 Pink Floyd songs?
It'll be an interesting one as well, because they're not like a standalone songs people. So like, it'll be interesting. Obviously, they do have really high songs, but like,
this is where I think that my list is going to become a lot more understandable.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do it then at some point, definitely.
We will. Okay.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let us know if we were super scorching hot. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.
Give us your lists of top 5
Definitely.
albums as well.
See you soon.